What's up, folks? Welcome back to TacticalTortoise. My name is Trevi, and I wanted to make a follow-up to a video that I made last week about multi-model characters and correct a rule that I misquoted in that video and break down some of the confusion that players are having with that concept. I also have a cold while I'm recording these videos, so I apologize if I don't sound that great. Nurgle's rot has taken hold in me. Now, in that original video, I said this.
Now, this changes at the very instance that the last model in the bodyguard unit is destroyed. As soon as that happens, this unit goes back to being a regular unit and being treated as such.
And that is not technically true. And as such, I apologize for misleading everyone and sabotaging my credibility as someone who talks about Warhammer rules. After I made that video, a bunch of people commented and left me PMs about how I was interpreting the rule wrong, and in fact, I was misrepresenting how multi-model characters work. And while that is true, that the rule that I quoted isn't technically correct, the situations in which it is not correct are an incredible corner case, and let's talk exactly about why that is. So in that video, I mentioned that a bodyguard unit and its attached character unit become separate as soon as a bodyguard is destroyed. However, there exists an entry in the rules commentary that states that each time the last model in a bodyguard unit is destroyed, a character unit that is part of that attached unit is no longer part of that attached unit. It becomes a separate unit after the attacking unit has resolved all of its attacks. Now, a lot of people took this to mean that if you had a multi-model character unit, so something like Marneus Calgar with his Victrix Honor Guard, and he still had Honor Guard remaining, and you destroyed the bodyguard unit they were attached to, leaving only Calgar and his Victrix, until all those attacks are resolved, because they are still considered to be an attached unit, you cannot assign damage to Calgar because of the attached unit rule that says that saves cannot be assigned to the character. However, what a lot of players missed is the clause in the leader ability. The leader ability states that as soon as the last bodyguard model in an attached unit has been destroyed, any attacks made against that unit that have yet to be allocated can then be allocated to character models in the unit. So essentially, a character or a multi-model character unit that's in an attached unit, as soon as the bodyguard is destroyed, the status of being an attached unit continues until the end of that attack activation. However, you can still assign saves to the character as if it were an unattached unit. You would essentially just assign saves normally if you'd like to. So while technically what I said wasn't entirely true, the situations in which that distinction matters are extremely corner case. As Ukalsuzulk6150 pointed out in the comments thread of that original video, there are some weird corner cases with precision weapons and multi-model character units. For example, a multi-model character unit attacked by a precision weapon that doesn't have an attached bodyguard unit actually cannot be precisioned. Precision only works if the unit is attached, in which case it assigns it to a character. If you attack Marneus Calgar with just his Victrix Honor Guard and no other friends around, you actually can't shoot Calgar with a sniper rifle. The defending player can choose to assign to Calgar if they want, but you cannot force them to. This would create very strange situations where a multi-model character unit with an attached bodyguard could be being attacked by a sequence of weapons that include precision weapons, and if the status of being attached were to disappear immediately upon the bodyguard unit being destroyed, those precision weapons would go from having precision to essentially having no keywords halfway through the attack sequence. So this clause in the rules commentary is there to prevent situations like that from disrupting the normal flow of combat. With this rules commentary in mind, if you were to attack a unit with a combination of non-precision and precision weapons, even if the non-precision weapons kill the bodyguard unit, you could still then force the defending player to assign the precision weapons attack to the characters if you have line of sight to them and all of the other requirements that precision brings along with it. I'm sure there are some other corner cases where the attached status persisting makes a big difference, but this precision example is an example of why this rules commentary entry matters. So for everyone who pointed that out in the comments section, I appreciate you doing that. Technically, what I said in my original video was not correct. However, the information I presented in that video was valid. You can still assign damage to characters after you destroy their attached unit, even inside the same activation. The rules commentary entry is confusing, but the original leader rules, which the commentary does not replace, simply adds on to, tells you how to resolve this interaction. I want to say as well that I do appreciate everyone who did shout out this mistake in the original video. I think it does highlight a place where players could get confused by the leader effect, which is very complicated. So it's good that we can make this video to sort of smooth that over. But also, I appreciate people fact-checking me. I don't pretend to know every single rule in Warhammer 40k. I definitely have made rules mistakes in the past, and I would rather correct them on my channel than put content out into the community that causes players to play rules incorrectly. While it's difficult and maybe even impossible to play a totally perfect game of Warhammer 40,000 with no mistakes whatsoever, I do think that the game is getting closer and closer to that platonic ideal, and I think that all players in every community should be trying to play in that manner. So thanks again to everybody who commented on that video and let me know about my misspeaking. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. If you want to support me, you can do so down in the video description by joining a YouTube channel membership. Also over on Patreon at patreon.com/TacticalTortoise. Also, you can subscribe to me over on Twitch where I play most of my live gameplay. And remember to keep it classy, folks, and have happy wargaming.